The silence has cracked. David is a suspect in the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The accomplices have broken their loyalty and arrests are coming. Thanks to the due diligence of the LAPD's work, and after 2 months, we finally heard something from the LAPD in a leak on November 18th. They haven't made a formal declaration, but we hear that an LAPD source with direct inner knowledge of the case has provided information to news and gossip entertainment channels. The silence is finally cracking, and behind the scenes, David is now a suspect in the death and dismemberment of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. This case is darker, more complex, and more coordinated than everyone originally thought. We are finally getting a better idea about what may have happened to Celeste beyond the news that her dismembered body was wrapped in plastic when found in the front trunk of the Tesla owned and registered to David Anthony Burke, also known as D4VD, David. With the preliminary findings, we have new information which is leaking out about multiple suspects, dismemberment, lack of cooperation, and a timeline that goes back to early spring. NBC4 reported it first on November 18th, and ABC7 followed, that David is considered a suspect. The new developments are very important, seeing that the post-mortem dismemberment of remains is a different tier of criminal behavior with a whole new set of possible charges. It indicates that there was panic, concealment, organization, and it strongly suggests that there were multiple participants. Hello and welcome to JungleStream. Join me as I break down the newest development in the Celeste Rivas Hernandez and D4VD, David case. These are my thoughts and speculations that are based on what the LAPD inner source revealed and what this could all mean for the case. Please hit subscribe, and if you like my content, hit like as well. I'd appreciate it. Do add your thoughts in the comments section on YouTube. I'd like to know what you think. If you're listening on the podcast platforms, please subscribe there. Thank you. After more than 2 months, the LAPD has made a significant breakthrough in this case. If what these news outlets have reported is true, then the LAPD now has evidence linking David to this case. I guess the dismembered body of Celeste in his vehicle's front trunk, and the well-known and documented relationship that he had with her was not sufficient enough for some reason. But they are now considering him a suspect. This comes as a relief since we were growing weary of why the red flags that were there in front of all to see were being ignored or downplayed to keep looking in other directions. At least this is what we kept hearing from certain gossip entertainment outlets, claiming that the truth, when it finally came out, would be clear as day to clear David's name. We were questioning if the LAPD had tunnel vision in their need to clear someone who very clearly had guilt written all over, as they stated on November 7th that it did not appear to be a homicide, and there was nothing new to report. Of course, I'm paraphrasing, but that is pretty much what was said, which set off alarms of concern and outrage on the internet and in the public. It appeared as if they had their blinders on for a while, and there was no room for any other way of thinking. The word suspect that the LAPD insider used tells us in what direction this investigation is going. This is an important first step in finding justice for Celeste. What we've come to learn in recent days is that the silence is no longer sustainable, and someone or several individuals that have direct connections to David and the case are talking to investigators. Law enforcement is closing in, and David and his accomplices have to know that arrest should be made soon. All their lies are unraveling. They've worked so hard at portraying themselves as these fun-loving, soft-spoken, and good-natured characters online, when they've been hiding so much when the cameras are turned off. David must be panicking at the thought of his accomplices imploding under oath. He must be breaking down as he sees that he's losing it all. It's just a matter of time before the LAPD makes their formal declaration and they slap the handcuffs on David and his accomplices. I'll summarize these new findings based on multiple news sources. Investigators believe Celeste's death occurred in the spring. Number 2, her body was altered post-mortem. Number 3, her body was hidden for a significant period of time. Number 4, the vehicle was moved and then abandoned. Number 5, David had help. Number 6, multiple individuals are complicit. Number 7, David has not cooperated. And lastly, number 8, a road trip to a remote area in Santa Barbara County in late hours of the night in spring is of extreme importance. He is believed to have been there for a few hours and returned home. So what do these new developments mean? Multiple outlets have reported that this LAPD insider stated that it is now believed that she did not pass in the summer but early spring based on the level of decomposition. Law enforcement also believes her body was dismembered after her death, and more than one person may have been involved in how Celeste lost her life as well. Investigators believe that David most likely had help, and this is no longer a simple death investigation. It now appears to be a coordinated concealment investigation with possible homicide implications. As I mentioned earlier, this is speculation based on what the news outlets reported on the 18th of November. If footage is authentic and who moved the Tesla, if someone drove it who is not the owner of the vehicle, this person immediately has become a key figure in the timeline. This person has become a possible witness, an accomplice, or suspect even. David has not been cooperating is what we discovered, which is contrary to what TMZ had originally reported when the case first started. So basically what this means is that he is not providing the necessary information to clear his name and declare innocent involvement. While it's true that failure to cooperate does not mean guilt, it does change the tone of the questioning. An alarming new claim is that the vehicle's tracking data has exposed a mysterious road trip in the middle of the night to a remote area of Santa Barbara County in the spring. This is being identified as a key piece to the investigation. David was there for a few hours and returned home. I'm sure you're asking yourself too, as we all are, what's next? What are we waiting for? The medical examiner's official findings into the cause of death are still pending. As of this recording, we still do not have the cause and manner of death, though it appears to have been concluded since Celeste's medical examiner record suddenly disappeared. It suggests that they have the cause and manner of death and are piecing the findings. These two important pieces of information will determine if this will become a homicide case, manslaughter case, negligence case, or overdose case. This report anchors the timeline and will determine whether injuries existed, toxins existed, whether there were signs of restraint, whether decomposition masked something else, whether the body was moved, and whether there was dismemberment post-mortem or ante-mortem. Many question if the leaks from the LAPD are a strategy. Leaks can be tactical to encourage confessions and put pressure on those under investigation. Leaks like this usually come with a purpose. While it's true that not everyone has a confession to give, David's friends Asia and Neo were in the Hollywood Hills mansion during the time that Celeste is believed to have lost her life, and when David took his road trip to Santa Barbara County. So their involvement and testimonies are very important. Law enforcement is being methodical and is still working on the case, but something definitely feels different now. Things will be moving very quickly now that the medical examiner appears to have completed his findings. Hopefully, the additional forensic tests and the digital evidence returns have also been concluded, or are on the cusp of finalizing. You're probably also wondering what motive David could have had for Celeste's death, so let's explore. Internet sleuths have found screenshots of old messages on David's Discord fan server, which show that he was dating the underage Celeste for years. They were even able to dig up what appears to be the first messages between David and Celeste when she was only 12 years old. For legal reasons, I have to mention that while we are doing our best to verify that the information in text, group chats, live stream chats, and photographs is real, we cannot confirm with 100% certainty that none of it has been altered or manufactured because we have no tangible evidence from law enforcement to corroborate at this time. But I will say that in my opinion, it looks real and authentic, and if someone were trying to set David up, then they took many years planning a very well orchestrated takedown. I personally look for the same group chats, but with different individuals' accounts to cross-reference that the chat is real. If we take this information as true, then David and Celeste's relationship always sat on a foundation of lies, hidden truths, and secrets. Her face, partially covered in photos, was just a small glimpse into all that they hid. There are many reasons why their relationship could have ended in such a horrific way. Was the dark secret of their nefarious relationship about to be exposed? Did Celeste outgrow him? Was it his self-proclaimed obsession with Celeste? And was someone fighting for her attention as he would sing about in his songs, that maybe set him off if he had something to do with her death? Or was he simply not willing to risk losing his career and newfound fame should their relationship be exposed? We know that David released his debut album in April of 2025. This was around the same time that it's now believed that Celeste lost her life, and he took that mysterious road trip in the late hours of the night to a remote area in Santa Barbara County. Did David feel that the threat was imminent? Did the panic give, and was the whole response completely improvised? Or were there more individuals present when Celeste lost her life, and as a result, they were all forced to make a split-second decision to dispose of her body? We know that his inner circle of friends, Neo, Asia, and the second Celeste, Celeste Rivas, have all unfollowed each other, and we know that Neo has been busy deleting and cleaning all traces of his once friendship and possibly more intimate relationship with David. We can safely say that David's life is quickly unraveling. With the new reporting, the tone and internal language has definitely changed. The story has stopped drifting, and the investigators have narrowed down on the timeline. The suspect list now has one or more individuals, and the belief that this could be the work of one person has also changed. What's clear is that law enforcement is getting ready to take action, and the suspect will soon turn into arrestee. The quiet finally broke. It took time for anything as small as it could be to finally come out, and we welcome any information in the quest for justice for Celeste. I'm not sure if it was the public's pressure that made a difference, but what I do know is that the public was outraged, as the LAPD stated on November 7th that they didn't see Celeste's death as a homicide, and there was nothing new to add. The public loudly expressed their discontent, and 11 days later, on the 18th of November, an LAPD source with direct inner knowledge of the case spoke to news and entertainment gossip outlets and gave us all hope that this will not be another cold case. Thanks to these internet detectives that have been digging up as much information as they can to show the connections between David and Celeste, their romantic relationship, and what could have happened between them which led to her passing, and thanks to private investigator Steve Fisher, we have all been more informed on who Celeste was and why we needed to continue pressing for answers into her life when she was groomed and abused and her untimely death.